Hi, everybody. Happy week of April 26, 2020. So, this week I want to talk a little bit about the survey that went out to you guys. I want to talk about some websites that the state of Oklahoma is pushing out. I was in a conference call with Deidre Ebry from the city of Moore, our director of economic development, this morning, share some of the websites that she's sharing on behalf of the state. Where we're kind of looking as we start to look at the idea of reopening in the foreseeable future and just some of the other things that are going on as we go through some of this process. So I'll start by saying that some of the websites that have been attached to this email, I'll explain them a little bit. So the one, okcommerce.gov COVID-19 hours plan, that kind of lays out what the state is looking at doing. The one that is open up and recover safely is how it's going to look like. It's even further broken down. Those first two are kind of like the broad idea, and then the specific of what does phase one, phase two, and phase three look like. The third one I'm going to share is the OSHA document. So it's one of those things where if you're ever feeling unsure, unsafe about protocols of what OSHA is saying, you can see what we're looking at as we go through this process, and that's what OSHA is looking at. That's what PLS is looking at as we go through this process. And the last one is the actual live dashboard of those who are sick, those who are recovering, whatnot. So as you know, you hear Governor Stitt talk about these things, about the numbers of the state. This is the dashboard that the state is looking at as they're continuing to open businesses up throughout the state, so you guys can feel, safe and comfortable with what those things look like. So, speaking of feeling safe and comfortable, I want to ask all of you to please answer that survey that was sent. I think that was Friday night ish. Please answer that as soon as you can. This is a really important survey, and answer it honestly, because we need to know if you are in fact comfortable coming back. If you are not comfortable back, we need to know that as well. This is one of those things where, for the sake of opening up 12 branches, we need to know how many staff we have available. We need to know how we're going to make this work, what the hours are going to look like, what the kinds of services are going to look like. We all understand that things are going to be a little different initially, but how differently does that look? Well, a lot of that's going to determine on how many folks are willing and able to come back right now based on their circumstances. So remember, it is an anonymous survey, but please answer it honestly. It's really important. Some of the things that exec team and the customer service CMT are meeting multiple times a week about right now, just so you guys are aware of what's being discussed. All the branch managers recently were asked to fill out a form. Julie helped with that this morning a little bit in terms of, how many gloves do we need for the branch, so that everyone has extra sets of gloves, because you might be replacing those multiple times in one day. What does that look like from a hand sanitizer standpoint? What does it look like from a mask standpoint? How many people need masks? Obviously, we're going to ask everyone to wear masks likely. So how many need those? I went ahead and requested those for everyone in the branch. How are we going to move furniture around? Because obviously we're not going to want people just sitting on our furniture, hanging out when realistically we need people 6 feet away. You guys are all aware of that already from what's been on the news. Being able to remind people of that is going to be a really important part of what it's like when we open back up again. It will not be, and I think I can feel comfortable saying this too, we're not going to want people hanging out, playing Roblox for hours on end. Again, because we're going to be scaling back some of our services temporarily, less computers available due to 6 feet apart. We really are going to ask customers to be fair about the fact that, if you need to come in and print out a document, please do so, but please don't linger. A grab and go mentality will be something that we'll be looking at. The idea of, maybe holds are placed. We pull the holds from the shelf for the customers, and then we put them in bags somewhere. That's something, the kind of thing that's being discussed. Again, this is all in the sake of not only keeping staff safe, but keeping customers safe. The idea of the city of Moore said they would really like to put tape on the floors, again, to guide people through wherever it is that we allow them to be. We want to keep everyone safe, keep those 6 feet at all times in the building. One of the other ideas that will be going forth likely is the idea of working in teams. So since a lot of the services will be dropped back a little bit temporarily, we will probably be putting people on teams. And what that looks like is Team A, Team B, Team C, whatever you want to call them. You would stay with that team through some duration of this project. Again, for the sake of, if you go to those CDC guidelines for opening, you're talking about contact tracing. So if, let's say I'm on Team A and I get sick, we'd want to be able to have everyone on Team A who know who that person has interacted with. In that case, it would be me. We'd want all of you to go and get tested because you would have been around me on Team A. And it makes things a lot safer for everyone else. So again, this morning, exec team met at 10:30. Again, they were talking through all these things, talking through what does it look like to reopen? How do we do this in a way that is most safe for everyone here? The customer service CMT, Kelsey is part of that, and she has been briefing me along with other members on that CMT regularly as to what's going on. And I can tell you, any questions at all about that CMT, please certainly feel free to direct them to Kelsey. Feel free to direct them to me. Reservations, concerns, she can bring them up in the CMT. She can make sure exec team is aware of those. I'm always happy to do that as well. The most important thing right now is getting everyone to feel like they're comfortable with whatever that is for your personal choice, whether that's coming in today, tomorrow, next week, next month, next year. We just need to know what that looks like. We will work with you. I've said this 1,000 times. We will find a way to make this work for you guys. We want you to feel comfortable. We want you to feel safe. And that's not just me saying this. This is exactly why exec team has been meeting, 2, 3, 4 times a week if need be. They're trying to find this way. This is every single day that it's like the measure is changing. So how do you handle that? And that's what they're working on. And this has been the hardest thing, for the customer service CMT as well, is the ball keeps changing. That measuring stick keeps changing. So, again, please keep that in mind. I know it seems like sometimes things are happening rapidly, maybe more than you'd feel comfortable with, but it's happening and then it's changing and it's changing again because the parameters are changing on the state and national levels. And we're just trying to find ways, again, we can ensure that what we're saying stays in front of that curve. As the curve flattens, we want to keep it flattening. And PLS is putting in every measure to make sure that this happens. That you should see this spreadsheet that I had to fill out of how are we going to ensure that everything that we're doing keeps everyone safe. And it's a lot of work, but it's necessary. I'm 100% behind it. You guys would love to see it. Again, how many boxes of wipes do we need? How many boxes of gloves to get through the next month? These are all things that are being talked about down to the item number. I said it last week. I'll say it again. PLS cares. All of us soups care. So please have those conversations with us. Please fill out that survey. Hope you're all staying safe and well. I look forward to seeing you all soon, truly. That's this week and more. There will be, I'm sure, more coming this week as things continue to develop. But keep those questions coming. Please keep the emails coming. Please keep those dialogues coming. And hopefully we'll be back to some level of normal soon. See you guys.